Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all my audience viewing the Captivated Series podcast. We are here with another episode today, and we try to cover different artists from different genre in our podcast. So today we have a completely different area of work, and that is basically writing about quilts or to convert the idea of quilts into words, and we have somebody who does it very very well. She writes a lot about textiles. Let me welcome Chitra Balasubramaniam. Thank you so much, Chitra, for doing this. I'm very happy you are here. And she is a journalist, she's a writer, even though her studies and her job profile is equity and shares
Research.
equity
Yeah.
research. Yeah. But she does writing about textiles as a passion, as a hobby, and her love for textiles. Can I say that, Chitra?
Yes,
Is
yes,
it?
sure.
Yes, yes, love for textiles. So, Chitra, thank you very much. Welcome to our episode.
Thank you so much, Bishaka. And it's so nice to meet you finally. I
Yeah.
mean, after having spoken to you so much over the phone, to finally see you through the Zoom camera or the Zoom whatever. So it's a nice feeling to be
Yeah.
doing this with you. And thank you so much for having me on your episode.
Yes, so Chitra has been, we have been in touch with each other regarding an article that she was writing about Kaudi, and it came out, I think last month it came out
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
magazine that was published from the UK.
It's
An
called the
art,
Quilter magazine, which
okay,
is published by the Quilters Guild from the US. So, yeah, I write on quilts for them, and Kaudi was one of the quilts that we had covered in
yeah,
the
yeah,
magazine. Yeah.
yes, it's a lovely article. It's come out very
Thank
well.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Chitra, let me begin by asking you my first question. Your basic love for writing about textiles. Just what do you think when you want to start writing an article about a textile art?
See, I think all research is the same. When you start writing about textiles and you start from what, where, how, and you keep, it's like saying you keep fill in the blanks as you go along. So, I mean, if you're writing, say, about kalamkari, then you, of course, start off with the history of it. When did it begin? Who started it? How did it come to India? And then you get on to the procedure or the process of doing it. And then you look at, the people who do it. And of course, then today I think the commercial aspect is much more important than just doing it for fun. So you look at that, and that kind of sums up the entire thing. And of course, when you write an article, you can't write so much on it, but yes, those are the broad parameters that I think you need to cover when you do anything on textiles. Start from the history and then go on to how it has evolved, what is it being done today, and then take it on from there.
O-
So that
Okay,
is
well,
a very
yeah,
brief way of saying it.
yeah,
But yes, research requires more effort, more, and when you are passionate, then you keep getting into it further and
yeah.
further on, just
Okay,
like you have done with Kaudis.
so for how long have you been writing, Chitra?
It's a long time. I think about more than 15 years, now 10 to 15 years. Yeah,
Okay,
quite a long time. Yeah.
okay. And do you exclusively write about textiles or you write about other subjects also?
See, I write on textiles because I love textiles. I'm not sure how I got this love, probably because my mother was very fond of handlooms and my father also loved the handloom. So I've been exposed to it since I was a child. So maybe that's the link as to why I do so much on textiles. And of course, India has a lot of traditional textiles, and all over the world, handmade textiles is diminishing. So that could be the reason. But coming to your question, yes, I write on food. I write on the hotel industry, proper business writing, and of course on art and craft. But over the years, I have started, getting more and more into textiles. And I have also started this little blog or travel log that you would call Armchair Textile Journey, where, just talking about textiles from all over the world, where
Okay,
sitting in the confines of your home, you can learn about textiles. You need not actually go down to the area, but you can read about what is happening all over the world. So that's a more focused way of getting forward in textiles as far as I am concerned.
okay.
Yeah.
So, if I may say, you have encompass the entire country? Is it from north to south, east to west? Have you covered like all quadrants in terms of textile? Like not all art forms, but maybe one from each zone.
Yeah, yeah, that one from each zone, of course, I've done. But covering the entire
Yeah,
the
that's
country is very difficult because I
yeah.
think the first threads, the first cotton thread was found, I think, during the excavation of Mohenjo-daro. So we're
Okay,
talking about more than thousands of years of history. So I
okay.
don't think any of us can
Yeah,
even dream of covering the
yes,
textile history of India in
yes,
one lifetime.
correct.
So, yeah, so you learn about what is happening, you come to know good. Every day
Yeah.
is a journey, every day is a learning.
Yes. So do you remember the first article that you wrote? I mean, what were the thoughts that were going on in your mind? Like, why did you think of writing about that topic? And what was the topic of your first
No, it's very
article?
funny because, yeah, I'll tell you, we had actually, I had started off a little outfit, me and a friend of mine, on market research. So we were doing a lot of market research for new products, new product launches. And there were these journalists, come an entrepreneur who had started a magazine on Delhi. So they wanted us to write about Delhi markets, and the money was good. So we said, "Okay, we'll write." And then
Okay. Yeah.
then they said, "Why don't you do a little research?" And we speak to 50 people in the market, and as to what whether they like Pepsi, whether they like Coca-Cola, and you have a little analysis, something on the product, and we happily agreed. But unfortunately, the magazine did not take off, and the lady who was the editor went on to join another magazine. So she wanted somebody to write, so I was there, and that time I didn't know anything about what textiles I wanted to write on. I remembered Pashmina shawls, and I promptly said Pashmina. And she said, "Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea." So that's from where my journey in writing began. And somebody at Indrama, this was a magazine brought out by Sita Travels, so read it and said, "You write well, and why don't you write for us?" Now when somebody's on your life saying write, 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 then you want to
Yeah.
hunt for topics. And
Yes.
so maybe it's I don't know whether it was my karma that's making me write on textiles, or I don't know, but I write.
Okay.
Okay.
And why was Pashmina shawl of interest to you? Like, did you have one or did you like them? Uh,
No, it was so expensive, and there was
yeah.
so much of how should I say, misinformation on it,
Oh.
that it made sense to write about pashmina. And then it was winters, so that's how the topic came about. And then I researched, and then you realize there is more to pashmina than just a shawl. And then we're talking about 400 to 500 years of history. We're
Oh.
talking about the new things that are being done, the kani shawls. So then it was a different journey altogether from there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it took snowball effect and started with an idea
Yes.
and then it,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
started
It.
gearing up.
Yes. 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 So then,
Okay,
yeah. Hmm.
nice, very nice. So my uh, next question to you is, just like you said, Pashmina shawl. How do you decide on a topic? Like, is it like a spark that hits your head, or you see something on the road, or you just realize that you have a very nice kalamkari sari and I want to write about it. So where do you get your idea for the article?
No, if you're into this, how should I say, the profession of writing, you can create a story from everything. It's not so difficult. You just need to be a storyteller. You just need to have that bent of mind to put up something that is interesting, that people like listening to, or reading. And then of course you have your story there, and you can. And it's not difficult. It's just that people don't look at it as a story point of view, so which is why it doesn't come out so much. But I think if you have that bent of mind, it's not difficult. I mean, it's very simple. Even like, for example, any mother when she's feeding a kid will, will start a story for anything just to see that the kid eats it. So just like that. So you just need to probe, and of course the story unfolds, and then you get your focus and you write. So I can't really define whether what came first, the spark or the idea, the what
Okay.
triggered off. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting, and you just
yeah.
make it interesting. That's all.
Wow, that's
Mm,
nice. So,
mm.
writing, was it like your passion from childhood, Chitra? Like,
Yeah,
were you
yeah, yeah,
into
yeah,
writing? So,
yeah,
what all
yeah,
would you
yeah.
write at that time? Would you
No, no,
like
I've written
short
on all the
stories or something?
nothing, nothing. So all
No.
essays. essays for the school and my speeches, everything. I have written
Okay.
on everything. That's not
Okay.
a problem at all. That's
Okay.
not a problem. So I was fond of writing. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So these days, Chitra, do you write on pen and paper or you use the laptop?
laptop, pen and
Laptop.
paper is, I wish I could do that. It's
Okay.
very difficult, but yeah, then sometimes even I can't read my own writing. So it is not a very sensible thing to do. But yes, and of
Okay.
course, yeah, I think I remember at one of these ministries, they used to come up with this very nice magazine by the government of India, by the Ministry of External Affairs. And I had gone, and they make you sign when you have to enter. And I didn't have a pen. And promptly the man said, "Madam, writer ho, और आपके पास कलम भी नहीं है." And I turned around and said, नहीं नहीं, आजकल तो लैपटॉप में लिखते हैं. But then that was like a kick, saying that, see, as a writer, you've ignored the pen. So you don't carry one. But yeah, writing with pen and paper, I think it should be done. But we're used to the laptop. It's faster, it
Yeah.
saves things, and you can delete, undelete.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
pen and paper is not a not a thing done by me now.
Okay. Because usually I remember when you say a writer, no, there's usually a scene, a desk with an ink pot and a
I don't know,
feather
then you
that.
call me a journalist. Then I'm not a writer. Call me a
Oh.
journalist who types it in. So I am in that mode. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your growing up days, Chitra. Like, how was it growing up? Would you like read a lot of books that
Yeah, yeah.
inspired you to write?
Yeah, I've been a reader because, see, my mother used to write. She used to write in Tamil and Malayalam. She's very good at it, especially composing poems. And my father had had a way with his words in letters. So probably that, the instinct to write came up from there. But as far as I know, you've been reading, writing. That's been like what everybody does. I think suppose so. And nowadays, I think people don't read, children don't read. I'm told, but yeah, but yeah, I grew up reading everything I could lay my hands on, everything. So that might have shaped my writing. I don't know, but that's how it is.
So, would you say that to be a writer, you need to be a reader first?
Of course, of course, unless you develop that habit to read, how do you expect others to read what you write?
Okay.
Give respect, take respect. You read something of somebody else also reads what you write, but everybody stops reading. Then who's going to read? You can just write, write, and write. So I think yes, reading is a good habit, which unfortunately we have lost today. And I'm not a big fan of Kindle or online reading. I still write the book and the
Write the
paper,
books.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
holding it my hand. I still love doing that. So and
Okay.
then yeah, yeah. If even you look at textile books, seeing it online rather than when you have the book in your hand, there's a lot of difference.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can dream about it, sleep on it. You can do a lot of things which is not possible with a laptop.
Yeah. Yeah. The only
Yeah.
advantage I see over there is you can zoom into a very minute level on the digital platform, but on the book, you can just visually
No, you
see it.
take a magnifying glass, you can get the same effect. You just need to think out of the box. But yeah, zooming is okay. But then when you have to zoom the words, the letters,
Yeah.
and try and
Yes.
fix it up,
Yes.
it's not fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the book is good for you. The
It's good
hard
for
book.
me,
Yeah.
yes. But if you want to do a zoom, I think you click a picture, put it
Yeah.
onto the
Yeah.
thing, and zoom and do what you want. But
Yeah.
the book is nice.
Okay,
The
Chitra.
book is
And
really
what
nice.
about your education? Like we just spoke a little bit about your research in equity. So you studied what and
No, I'm a
what were you?
say no. I'm not an arts graduate. I'm a commerce BCom honors, MBA specialization in finance. It's hardcore marketing, hardcore finance with with a little bit of marketing subjects that I had, and shares and equity has been my passion throughout. Something I fell in love with, I think in my 11th standard, and I've held on to it. So that still goes on. I still love doing that. But yes, this creative writing and documenting is something I have loved doing. And over the years, I've realized India has a lot of textile traditions, but very little of it has been documented. And what has documented is the rich crafts. like the Pashmina shawl, the Banaras saris, the Kanjivaram, but a lot of other things. There are lots of textile
Yeah,
traditions which have
yeah,
not been given the same platform or have been documented. So
yeah.
that is something, yeah, that's maybe that's what has spurred me on to write more on
Mm,
textiles, because although it's such a huge export item, there is not much of research work, or there's not much of, the background is not there, the backup is
mm,
not there.
mm,
You will export because somebody is buying ikat. It goes in multiple quantities all over the world. But then no documentation is here as to which country, what are you sending, why are you sending, nothing. Now, of course,
okay.
a lot of designers are doing, but
Mm,
there is a lot of room.
yeah,
There is enough space for everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Correct.
Mm.
That's what I also experienced when I started working on the Kaudi. There are
Yeah.
small articles here and there, but there is
Yes.
no book or
Documentation.
something
Yes.
that talks about the
Uh,
Kaudi by itself.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think even one book, I mean, I think you can do about 10 books on Kaudi and
yeah,
still have
yes,
information gaps where another 11th book can easily come up. So that is there for all, I think,
yeah,
all textile crafts of India.
of India, yes.
Yeah, all of them, nearly all of them.
Okay. So coming to my next question is, what is your process, Chitra? Once you identify a topic from thought to an article, could you just quickly tell us like what all do you do?
Nothing. I mean, you think, like, for example, I think I had got in touch with you for the quilts that you did, not the modern contemporary quilts that you did, and
Yeah,
you
the
had
sari
mentioned
quilts,
Kaudi.
I think you had.
The
Yeah, yeah,
sari quilts, and the other one, the portraits or something that
yeah.
you were doing. So, and then you had mentioned Kaudi and the sari quilts, and then once you start, digging, you realize there is something called Kaudi. And of course, then I remembered that you had mentioned Kaudi, and then of course the link starts, and then you get more information, and then once you're talking about Kaudi, then your ears and eyes are all sharp and focused on anybody who says Kaudi, and you start digging for more information, and that's how it goes. So there is no planned approach or anything, and sometimes I'm plain lucky that I meet somebody who knows it or who does it. So that is how the process has been going. But with quilts, I must tell you something, is that it's very difficult to get information, because quilts are made by women and they're made at home, and it doesn't have much value. There is no commercial value to it. So if you ask the son, the daughter, or anybody who might come and speak to you, they will not tell you much. Oh, my mother does it, my grandmother does it. Why she does, I don't know. She just wastes her time doing it. Nahi, because this I remember very well, because I had spoken to some weavers, Banaras, from Azamgarh. Now, Azamgarh has a lot of quilts which they call khilari. And they'd go, give it during weddings, and during as a dowry, it goes, and a minimum of 21, 51 quilts are made. And you ask these men, how are they made? नहीं, the wife, when the घर वाले बनाते हैं, घर वाली बनाती है, बात करा दो, इससे आप क्या करोगे? हमारी
Oh,
टेक्सटाइल्स के ऊपर लिखो ना, साड़ी पे
अच्छा.
लिखो ना. So then, it's something which is not recognized. So getting information is very difficult. And when you even speak to the women, they kind of say, नहीं हो जाता है, बना लेते हैं. The fact that they're doing about 10 different designs is something that they are not bothered about. It's something that is done naturally. The mother does it. The daughter will pick up, the daughter-in-law will pick up, the grandmother does it. So the whole house knows it, but it's never been documented. It never has a focus. So that is the main problem I've had when dealing with quilts. Like, for
Yeah,
example, Kantha is well known,
yeah.
but things like Sujani, Khilari, very little information. There are a lot of them from Bihar, so
Okay.
very little information.
So those artists are still prevailing, Chitra, or they are, like you said, diminishing? So, like, let's say a Khilari, how
They
many
they
more
make it.
generations would it be
They will
there
make it.
for?
They make it because it's a part of their wedding ritual. So they
Hmm.
will keep making it. Only thing is, you and I will never come to know about it.
Okay.
It's like, it's like kolam that people make outside their homes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Nobody documents it. Every woman knows it, and the daughter will also pick up. She will add some more to it, and then one generation will stop doing it, and nobody will know what happened. So it's the same thing, but yeah, I mean, in places where it's still a ritual, it's being done. But now I think, because the quilts are seen as a form of recycling and upcycling. So there is more focus on it. So there are people, designers, there are NGOs who are working on it. So probably it will survive. And I'm very optimistic about India that nothing ever dies here. Even 30, 50 years down the line, you will find somebody who knew something, and you can,
Yes,
the threads will get picked up and it'll be done.
yes,
So
yes.
that is how it is.
Yeah. So when you meet these or when you speak to these quilt makers, have you heard of them singing some folk songs also related to the quilts or the
Yeah,
textile art
yeah,
they are
yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do that.
Have
For
they
lead,
like sung it
yeah.
for you ever? Like, have you
Yes,
heard any
yes,
of those?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Which ones, if I may
Ledra,
ask?
Ledra's there.
Ledra. Okay.
Ledra's there from Jharkhand.
Okay.
So this is a very, I got in touch with Justin Iman. Unfortunately, he passed away, I think, a couple of years ago, but he became a very good friend. So he had got these women artists who were doing Sohrai paintings and for an exhibition. And before he came from Jharkhand, I told him I want to see Ladra. So he carried a few samples. So when he came to, they had put it up at India International Center. So I went, met him. And then what happened was these women were more interested in going for shopping rather than meeting me. So they had gone off shopping. So Justin was very apologetic. So, and I used him to say that now you made me spend so much of time. Now please make a ladra for me from my mother's sari. And then he had, poor thing, he was forced to do it. And he said, yeah, I'll do it. So then I had to go the second time. I went to give him the saris. And then, of course, the women were there. And then they sang. They sang the songs. And it talks about everything. It'll talk about childbirth. It'll talk about how beautiful it is, everything. So they're nice songs and they sing together. It's a nice feeling. And in other places, I think people sing just out of joy because they're quilting together. It's friends sitting together and quilting. So they sing songs. So that I think it's a form of
Yeah.
celebration, call it
Yeah,
quilt
it's also a
making. But
practice. Like when I went to the North Karnataka villages, there they sing a lot of bhajans and glories to, let's say, a Hindu god, and if it is Muslims, they sing songs for
acha.
Allah. So
Oh,
yeah, so that kind of songs also I have witnessed.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Should have a documentary, just documenting the songs of
just the
quilts.
songs. Yes, just
Just the
recording those
songs, huh?
songs.
Just the
Yeah,
songs of quilts. Yeah, that'll be an experience.
yeah,
Because in
yeah.
Bihar, what I'm told is that they sing according to the season. So if it is Chaitra, they sing songs for Chaitra when they are quilting. If it's for the monsoon, then they sing Savan ke songs, and sometimes they'll sing Tumri. Depending on the season, they sing the songs. It's got nothing to do with the quilts, but just the songs celebrating the season, and they'll quilt together. So that is how they do it. So yeah, I think it'll be nice if you could document the songs of quilts.
Yeah, it will be
Uh,
very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So out of all the projects that you have done till now, any personal favorite and why? I mean,
No,
or
it's
any
not
like
why.
very interesting something you have found just, totally blew your mind or something.
See, I actually fell in love with Sujni quilts. Why? I don't know. Maybe the way it was done or something. I have a quilt at the back here. Yeah, it's a lot of things dumped on it. So I'll quickly show it to you.
Sujani is from Gujarat, no?
No, no, no. Sujni is from Bihar.
From
Sujni is
Bihar.
from Bihar.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I fell in love with the Sujni quilts because it was like the Kantha. I'm not sure. Yeah,
Oh,
this is how it is.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
yeah. So the whole thing is done. And then this is how it started because there was this lady who was a Madhubani painter. So I saw the quilts with her and I fell in love with it. And then, of course, at that point of time, I was not collecting textiles or I was not keeping anything for me or so, I mean, it just slipped my mind. And I think after I lost my mother, I went around hunting for somebody who could make sujani from her saris. And that's when I realized nobody's interested in making it. They do it for their homes, they do it for their children, but getting somebody to do it for you is next to impossible. It's easier to make Madhubani paintings. They fetch you more money. This takes about 2 months or 3 months, and who will sit and waste time doing it. So that is when the interest for Sujani started. And I have a good collection of Sujani quilts, old ones, and I have some new ones which I got made. Of course, the new ones are not anywhere near the older ones because these ladies put, they have these running stitches which are far away and just finish it off. It's nice, it's beautiful that the motifs are nice, but the quilting stitches are not as fine as the older ones. So Sujani is where I started my journey with quilts. And of course, then it was Kanta, then Ledra, Killaries, and the quilts from Goa. So a lot. I mean, it's amazing how many quilt traditions are there in
Yes,
India.
yes. So
And
have
I
you
must tell
studied
you,
about the Godaris also from Maharashtra?
Godaris, I have not. See, after
Okay.
having written so much, the Goan quilts and the Godaris,
Yeah.
there's different. Yeah, that is not something I have touched so
Okay,
far. So
okay.
that shows the, and it's not. I've written a lot. I've
Yeah,
written a
I'm
lot on
sure.
quilts, so that just shows how much of quilting is there in India. And I
Yeah.
must tell you this because see, there is this lady called Paula Manfredi. I think I've got her name right. I mean, I'm pronouncing it right. She has done a lot of work on Lucknowi chicken, and she's written a very beautiful book on Lucknowi chicken. So where she has mentioned that she has seen a cap which was quilted and then embroidered with chicken curry. So chicken curry is so fine. So imagine, quilting a cap or and another jacket also. She's mentioned two, and the people have quilted it, and then and the quilting is done, and the embroidery, the fine chicken curry embroidery is done. So just imagine the kind of fineness of work that must have gone into it, and the importance that was given to quilting. So, and I think quilts as such, has India has a lot of tradition of quilts. A lot of it gets exported, but the documentation, unfortunately, is not there. That is the
Yeah.
problem, especially the Jaipur, your Kutch, Gujarat. Gujarat has quilting. Every community makes its own quilts, and you can actually
Hmm.
find examples of quilts from each community,
Hmm.
and each community is different, and people from there can identify
Yeah.
that this
Yeah.
quilt belongs to this community. I mean, I still can't, but they can.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
With the Kaudi, I have experienced that each part of North Karnataka has a different design. Initially,
uh,
I would think like, you feel that it's all the same. But
uh,
now, after spending so much time, I can identify which is from where and which
who
community would have made it.
made
So
it?
yeah, there is, I mean, in one state only, there is so much variation. I can
Yes,
imagine
yes, yes, yeah.
the thing about the whole country.
Yeah, yeah, plenty of it.
Yeah. So my next question is, um, any particular quilt tradition you feel needs urgent, acknowledgement, like it's in highly diminishing state and somebody has
Yeah,
to do something. So any one quilt form you feel is very
I
getting
won't
very
say
low.
one. I think a lot of, see, we've just been talking about quilts which are patched together, which are recycled, but there are a lot of quilts which are woven. I mean, they weave it and they put cotton into it so that it gets its thickness. One is a form of Sujani quilts of Gujarat. And there is a similar one which I just got to know about a year ago, called Mirijim from the
Oh,
Northeast. And
okay,
that nobody does anymore. Mirijim is something that nobody does anymore. They're supposed to be white quills, they're supposed to be beautiful. I haven't seen them. I have
okay,
heard, yeah, I've heard, and it is beautiful. It's from the Northeast. I think it's you can say Assam, Manipur, that belt, and it
okay,
is beautiful. And there is another one from Assam called Lasing Fi, which is again diminishing. But this Mirijim is something you don't come across.
across,
Maybe it's
okay.
done by a particular community, but
Hmm.
I have not seen. I've seen photographs. I've not seen a quilt per se, but that
Okay.
is something I feel needs can should be revived or should be brought out.
Worked upon. Okay,
Yeah.
so audience, anybody who's listening to this episode has any idea about what Chitra is saying or any information, big or small, please maybe you can get in touch with me or with her and we can pass on the information to her, maybe for an interesting article on that too.
Yeah, or maybe somebody will start a a project for the revival of Mary Jims. I don't know. Anything is possible. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Uh,
when you say that you are working so much with quilts, Chitra, do you sew? Like, do you do silai?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
know how to sew.
Uh,
I know how to do embroidery. I know how to do that, but I have not done it in a long time. I'm okay with it because my
okay.
mother was excellent in sewing and knitting. So I have learned everything with her, but doing it per se is something I have not done in some time. But I think quilting is simpler because the needle is bigger, and yeah, so it's easier to do rather than embroidery where the needle is very thin and the
Yeah.
thread is very
Stitches
thin.
are very
Yeah,
fine
stitches are
also.
very fine, so it's difficult to do embroidery. Quilting is, I think, relatively simpler
Hmm.
if you know it. I mean,
Okay. Have you tried a sewing machine? Sewing
yeah,
on
yeah,
a sewing machine?
yeah. The hand sewing machine, very well.
Oh, the hand one. Okay.
Yeah. Not even
Uh-huh.
the leg one, the hand one where you do it. Yeah. Pretty good
Okay.
at it, but yeah, I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Uh,
So coming to my next question is, mm, if there is a novice quilter who also has, interest in writing, what advice or what idea would you give that person? Like, where should they start from?
and go with your heart, no? Whatever your heart tells you, you do. If you want to write, write. You want to sew, quilt, you quilt. Go with your heart. I mean, there is
Okay.
nothing called, a defined parameter that you should do this. But yeah, if you would go with what your heart tells you to do, because if it's not being done professionally, then that means it's a passion. So with
Hmm.
passion, I think it's the best thing is to go with what your heart tells you to do.
Okay. And what about publishing, Chitra? Like, it's like somebody may write very well, but may not find an appropriate person to publish it. At that time,
Today
there
you
is
have the world,
struggle.
you have blogs, you have Instagram. The world is your audience, no? So you
Yeah.
just have to start off somewhere
Okay.
because yeah, otherwise you just have to. I mean, I don't know because print media is diminishing. Whatever
Hmm.
said and done, and
Yes.
it's all online today. And online you don't need much to start self-publishing. So if you're really good, you can do that. Try your hand at it. It's
Okay.
easier. It's an easier thing. It's not frustrating. Yeah, if you want to make money out of it, then of course you need to tackle it as a profession. But then if you're doing it as a passion for fun, then the world is your audience. And a
Okay.
blogger doesn't take anything. All you need is an
Yeah, that's
email
right.
ID. Yeah.
Yes. So we're almost at the end of the discussion. My last question to you would be, what are you currently working on? If you can disclose that.
Nothing much. Yeah. Just
Like any interesting topic to write on.
yeah. Of course. Yeah. I have. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are these floor. How should I say?
Rugs,
Jajams. They're
rugs,
called
is it?
drugs. Yeah, they're
Jhajam,
called
yeah.
jajams. Jajams,
Are they
jams.
from Maharashtra?
No. These
No?
are from Rajasthan.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was something I found it very interesting because they're huge and how they do block printing on them is a revelation in itself.
Acha.
So that is
Okay.
one. And another thing you were telling me about quilts, there are a particular kind of quilts called bala posh. I don't know. I mean,
Malaposh.
yeah,
Okay.
from
Mm.
Bengal, and
Oh,
they kind of, I think what they do is they have cotton and they keep beating it, becomes light and fluffy, and it's I think has a gentle perfume to it, and used to be made as shawls for the royalty. So that is a very unusual kind of quilt. So that I think the government is promoting. That's what I heard, but I'm not so sure. And I think every state has a history of quilts to it. So it's just how much of it can come out and how it comes out. So
okay, Chitra.
yeah.
It was
So,
very nice talking to you. Thank you for your time.
same here.
Yeah,
It's nice.
keep
It's fun
writing
talking.
many more articles.
Ah, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, and it's wonderful to connect with somebody who loves quilts, who loves textiles. Then you're talking to somebody who understands what you're trying to say. So it
Yeah.
was a wonderful experience talking to you and doing this
Okay, so if
podcast to you.
anybody from the audience wants to read your work, they have to go to your blog, is it?
Yeah,
Or they
yeah.
can just type, Google your name and the articles would appear.
If you Google my name, a lot of the online articles will come. Otherwise, I have two blogs, visitorstodelhi.com and the other one, armchairtextilejourney.com. So you can do that. And of course, my email is there to reach out. Your podcast is there to reach out.
Okay.
So
I'll
that
put
is there.
everything in the description, and then
Description.
anybody
Yeah.
who wants to contact Chitra, please go
Yeah.
ahead and share information with her.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Chitra, thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank
It
you
was a
so
pleasure
much.
talking to you.
Same here.